On 14th of April 1994 at 07:36 local time, a USAF E-3 AWACS aircraft from the 963rd Airborne Air Control Squadron departed Incirlik Air Base, Turkey, in support of OPC, Operation Provide Comfort. The AWACS, with its 19-member crew under the mission crew command of Major Lawrence Tracy, was to provide airborne threat warning and air control for all OPC aircraft during its time aloft. The AWACS crew reported on station at its assigned surveillance orbit altitude of 32,000 feet, located inside Turkey just north of the northern border of Iraq at 08:45. The weather that day was fair and clear over northern Iraq. The same day at 08:22 local time, two US Army UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters from the 6th Battalion 159 Aviation Regiment called Eagle Flight departed Diyarbakir near Incirlik Air Base, Turkey, headed for the OPC Military Coordination Center located 150 miles away in Zaku, Iraq. Both helicopters were fitted with 230-gallon fuel tanks on sponsons mounted beside each side door, with each tank emblazoned with a large American flag. In addition to the flags on the fuel tanks, each helicopter was marked with American flags on each side door, on the nose and on the belly. The lead Black Hawk was piloted by US Army Captain Patrick McKenna, commander of the Eagle Flight detachment of 6 helicopters. At 09:21, the Black Hawks reported the entry into the northern no-fly zone by radio on the en route frequency to the AWACS en route controller, Lieutenant Joseph Halsley, and then landed 6 minutes later at the MCC. Halsley and his superior officer, Captain Jim Wang, the AWACS's senior director, added friendly helicopter tags to their radar scopes. Noted that both helicopters were displaying identification friend or foe IFF mode 1 and 2 signals, and then suspended the radar symbols after the Black Hawks disappeared from their scopes upon landing at the MCC at 09:24. Although the helicopters were squawking the wrong IFF mode 1 code for the no-fly zone, neither Wang nor Halsley informed the Black Hawk pilots of that. However, it should be noted that both helicopters were squawking the correct Mode 2 codes. Wang and Halsley also neglected to direct the Black Hawks to begin using the TAOR radio frequency instead of the en route frequency. At 09:54, after picking up their load, the helicopters departed the MCC for Erbil, Iraq, a distance of 120 miles. The Black Hawks reported their departure, flight route and destinations by radio, which was acknowledged by Halsley in the AWACS. Halsley then reinitiated the friendly helicopter track on his scope. Halsley placed tags on his radar screen to show the two Black Hawks' track and notified Wang of the helicopter's movement. In addition to Halsley's screen, the friendly helicopter symbols were visible on the radar screens of Wang, Tracy and the USAF Major Doug Martin. Martin was the Duke or ACE airborne command element on the AWACS, meaning he was the rated aircrew member assigned to the crew to ensure that all engagements were adhered to and executed as per OPC policies. En route to Erbil at 10:12, the Black Hawks entered the mountainous terrain and their radar returns disappeared from the AWACS's scopes. Captain Deirdre Bell, an air surveillance officer on the AWACS, noticed that the Black Hawk's radar and IFF returns had disappeared and sent an electronic attention arrow to Wang's scope. Wang took no action and the large blinking green arrow automatically disappeared from his screen after 1 minute. Meanwhile, at 09:35, two USAF F-15C fighter aircraft from the 53rd Fighter Squadron, piloted by Captain Eric Wixon and Lieutenant Colonel Randy W. May, departed Incirlik Air Force Base, Turkey. The mission was to perform an initial fighter sweep of the TAOR to clear the area of any hostile aircraft prior to the entry of coalition forces. At 10:15, Wixon radioed Martin on the AWACS and asked if he had any information to pass to them, to which Martin replied negative. At 10:20, Wixon, the F-15 flight lead, reported entering northern Iraq to the AWACS controller responsible for air traffic inside the TOAR, USAF Lieutenant Ricky Wilson. The TAOR frequency the F-15s were using was different from the en route frequency being used by the two Black Hawks. Wilson, however, was monitoring both frequencies and was able to see both Black Hawks on his radar scope before they disappeared at 10:12. Wilson and the other AWACS crew members, many of whom were monitoring the F-15's radio frequency, did not inform the F-15s that the Black Hawks were currently operating in the TAOR. At 10:21, Wilson, believing the Black Hawks had landed again, asked Wang if he could drop the friendly helicopter symbols from the AWACS scopes, and Wang approved the request. An AWACS crew instructor, Captain Mark Cathey, who was on the mission to assist the AWACS crew and supervise Wilson on this, his first mission into the TAOR, had retired to the back of the airplane at 10:00 to take a nap. At 10:22, Wixon, flying at 27,000 feet, reported a radar contact on a low-flying, slow-moving aircraft 40 miles southeast of his current position. Wilson acknowledged Wixon's report with a clear there response, meaning he had no radar contacts in that area. Unknown to the two F-15 pilots, the unidentified aircraft were two US Army Black Hawks. Contrary to standard procedure, neither Tracy nor Wang spoke up at this point to request that the AWACS crew members attempt to identify the F-15's radar contacts. Both F-15 pilots then electronically interrogated the radar target with their onboard IFF systems across two modes, Mode 1 and Mode 4. Their IFF systems responded negatively to the attempt to identify the contact on Mode 1. The Mode 4 momentarily gave a positive response, but thereafter responded negatively, and the F-15s moved to intercept the unidentified aircraft. Intermittent IFF Mode 1 and Mode 2 returns from the Black Hawks now began to show on Wilson's and other AWACS crew members' scope, and friendly helicopter symbols reappeared on Wang's scope. After closing to 20 miles of the radar contacts at 10:25, the F-15s again reported the contact to the AWACS, and Wilson this time responded that he now had a radar contact at that reported location. Although the Black Hawk intermittent radar and now steady IFF returns on the AWACS scope were in the same location as the unidentified contacts being tracked by the F-15s, none of the AWACS controllers advised Wixon or May that the contacts they were tracking were friendly helicopters. The two F-15s now initiated a visual identification VID pass of the contact. The VID pass entailed violating one of OPC's rules of engagement, which prohibited fighter aircraft from operating below 10,000 feet above the ground. At this time, the two Black Hawks had entered a deep valley and were cruising at a speed of 130 knots. Wixon's VID pass was conducted at a speed of 450 knots, 500 feet above the helicopters. At 10:28, Wixon reported "Tally 2 Hind," and then passed the two Black Hawks. Hind is the NATO designation for the Mi-24 helicopter operated by the Iraqis. Wilson responded with "Copy Hinds" and asked Wang, "Sir, are you listening to this?" Wang responded "Affirmative," but offered no further guidance or comments. May then conducted his own VID pass about 1,500 feet above the helicopters and reported "Tally 2." May later stated to a USAF Accident Investigation Board that his "Tally 2" call meant that he saw two helicopters, but did not mean that he was confirming Wixon's identification of them as Hinds. Neither F-15 pilot had been informed that US Army Black Hawks participating in the OPC often carried auxiliary fuel tanks mounted on the wings which can resemble the Mi-24, or had either been instructed in the paint scheme that the Iraqi Hind helicopters used, light brown and desert tan, which was different from the dark green colours used by the Black Hawks. Wixon later said, "I had no doubt when I looked at him that he was a Hind. The Black Hawk did not even cross my mind." Following their VID passes, Wixon and May circled back behind the helicopters approximately 10 miles. Because aircraft from various nations sometimes operated unannounced in the northern Iraq area, the OPC rules of engagement required the F-15 pilots to attempt to verify the nationality of the helicopters. Instead, at 10:28, Wixon notified the AWACS that he and May were engaged and instructed May to arm hot. At 10:30, Wixon fired an AIM-120 AMRAAM missile at the trail helicopter from a range of about 4 nautical miles. The missile hit and destroyed the trailing helicopter. 7 seconds later, in response, the lead Black Hawk, piloted by McKenna, immediately turned left and dived for lower altitude in an apparent attempt to evade the unexpected attack. About 20 seconds later, May fired an AIM-9 Sidewinder missile at the lead helicopter from a range of about 1.5 nautical miles, hitting and shooting it down at about 1.2 miles. All 26 people on board the two Black Hawks were killed. After flying over the wreckage of the two helicopters lying burning on the ground, May radioed Wixon, "Stick a fork in them, they're done."